All right. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Tactical MSP Marketing webinar, where we're going to be talking about leveraging partnerships today. I'm Britta. I'm the marketing manager at Hackware. I'm going to cover a little bit of information while a few more people trickle in. So we've got two people on the webinar today. We have Charlene Ignacio, the CEO of CMO Guru, and Tiffany Ricks, the CEO of Hackware. We're going to be talking a little bit about their experiences working with different partners at different MSPs. So while they're giving you information, feel free to ask questions in the chat, and we'll get to those as we can, or we'll follow up afterwards if we don't get to all of your questions. So you guys want to do brief introductions of yourself before we jump right in? You can go ahead. Tiffany, do you want to start?
Absolutely. Britta, thank you so much for setting up this webinar. It's really important for us to give our partners the tools they need to grow a successful MSP and build their security practice. I'm Tiffany Ricks. I'm the founder and CEO of Hackware. And my background is in software and cybersecurity. I've been in cybersecurity for over 15 years. I've been a business owner who led a consultancy that had a managed service side. And I got the idea for what we're doing at Hackware because I was running my own managed service company. And the problem that we were trying to solve was, how do we empower our end users to protect themselves from phishing? And so we built this phishing simulation platform that makes it easy for MSPs to provide personalized phishing simulations and training. And I'm super excited to share my experience of working with partners around the world. And I'm really excited to have an expert, to really talk to you about how you can maximize your relationship with vendors like us. And so, Charlene, introduce yourself.
I'm so thrilled to be here. This has been a home run every single time we've done this, Tiffany, and, tactical marketing makes so much sense for these MSPs. And so thank you for leading the way. Thank you, Britta, for making this happen. I'm Charlene Ignacio, the CEO and founder of CMO Guru. We've been around for 25 years. Our focus has primarily been on doing things right, which means doing it smart, not harder necessarily. And MSPs have the darnest time with their marketing and their channel partner programs because there's so many things to do. Tiffany has probably experienced this in her previous, role with running a consultant firm, and then of course helping and figuring out as they've used Hackware as a tool for MSPs to use for their clients. Marketing has not only been my jam, but it's also what I went to school for. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I did my internship at Walt Disney World, learned from the very best in the market, how to make relationships become the keystone of all of your marketing. And so today is one of those conversations about how, you can leverage your partnerships. And so I'm so thrilled to be here. It's great to build MSP channel partner programs. It's great to see them exceed expectations, but more importantly, it's all about the people. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. We're bringing in the experts, and we're super excited that you would share the knowledge, empower these partners so they can have a successful practice like you. And so what I want to talk to you all about, so we're talking about how you can, really maximize and leverage your partnerships with vendors to maximize your marketing strategy. And one of the things that I want to talk about is the 3 don'ts that I see partners doing that we need to change so they can really maximize this relationship with the vendor. And the first don't is the most important part, and I know a lot of partners here don't have this problem because you're here, is that they don't recognize the beauty and the value add of working with a partner on your marketing strategy. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how, when you do recognize that, some of the best practices and things that you could do to really make your partner work for you and your strategy. The second don't that I see partners make, the mistake that they make when they're engaging with a vendor, is they don't know what to ask. They don't know what to ask for. They're not clear on what they want from that relationship. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit later about how that makes the vendor life easy, is when partners know what they want and they take control of that relationship and they use it to their advantage, because we want to help our partners and sometimes we don't know how. And so when they don't know what to ask for, that makes that relationship not as successful as we want that relationship to be. And then the third don't is really not knowing what the vendor offers on a marketing, how they can help your marketing strategy. How do they enable your marketing team? What is it that they provide? A lot of I think that's where we make a mistake, is really not going through the process of assessing this vendor, what they do, and also what they offer from a marketing enablement strategy. And so those are the three don'ts, really quick. Not understanding why it's important to leverage a partner. Number two, not being clear with your ask. You're not clear on what you want from that relationship. And then the third one is really not understanding what that relationship brings. And so those are my three don'ts. We're going to talk about how we can turn those don'ts into do's. And so Charlene, share a little bit more about what these partners really need to do to leverage relationships with vendors.
So let me drink water because I've been coughing. I don't know why all of a sudden. Of course it would happen.
Are you okay?
Tiffany says, "Hey, it's your turn, Char." You're like, "Okay, great." I'm coughing up a lung.
Oh, no.
You know what's really fun about partner programs? A lot of MSPs don't realize they need one. And right off the bat, there's a lot of solo MSPs. You guys really are great at what you do, but a lot of times you're also not really good at other things. And so partners are such a value add because they can do the things that you don't want to do, or you're not really good at doing, or you don't have the team to do it. And so I want to really emphasize, a lot of MSPs miss this opportunity. It's like, get on the path of success. This is one of the things that successful MSPs will do, and it changes the dynamics of their entire business. And so I think it's really unfortunate that a lot of MSPs, are like, no, we don't want to do it. We don't have the time. Imagine when you could have your time back because you actually are using the partner strategy. So that's the first thing. A lot of MSPs don't realize how powerful a partner program can be. Two, and this is very typical, especially for, and I don't want it to feel like, MSPs, you're not doing enough. You are. You're totally doing enough. You are the first line of defense for our customers against cybersecurity and against all these infrastructure, all these needs that they have. You are the responder. This is really big. MSPs, a lot of times the partner program is a process you go through. You're not going to get on the first try. You're not going to get all of the very best partners, and just be okay with that, because that's just part of the learning curve. And it's like our second webinar we did. It's like the dating method. You got to learn how to work with each other. You're going to learn how each other functions. You're going to understand what they do and what bothers you and what they do that you love. And so that's so powerful. And then the last thing, MSPs, you guys are so successful at what you do, but imagine if you can add services without adding any overhead. I want to say that again. MSPs, what if you could add more services and more revenue to your bottom line without any overhead because you build a partner program? Imagine that. Just imagine that for just a quick moment, that you could have revenue without doing the heavy lift. I know that's shocking, because you guys are totally committed to what you're currently doing. But I promise you, a channel partner program can be the answer to your revenue and services that your customers need without you having to do it all.
I love it. I mean, that's super important. You brought up a good point, Charlene. You talked about a little bit about the importance of almost using the dating method with working with your partner.
Yes.
So Charlene, just to help you all understand, this is a 3-part series. Go check out our other 2 parts. The second part talked about the dating method, but it really focused on, how do you actually acquire a customer And when do you, nurture that relationship where you're providing so much of a value add, and then you get to the point where you're ready to make that ask, and that's the marriage part. And so that was the second webinar we had. And then the first webinar, we talked about how do you build, a digital presence? How do you, where your customers are, which is on social media, build a presence where you're able to, on LinkedIn, capture their attention, educate them, understand their business needs and speak to that. And so that's and go check out those webinars. You can find them on our hackware.com resources, or resources.hackware.com. You can find those blogs and in that webinar. You can also find it on our Hackware YouTube page. But you brought up a good point. I say all that to say we're at the part where we want to talk about dating finding that partner that you want to make sure that checks off all of the boxes.
Right.
And then before you marry that partner, you really have made sure that it's a cohesive relationship that's in line with your business and where you want it to go, and leverage and make that partner, where you may be that one entity. Now you have this partner, you can go from 1 + 1 to 20 because you really have found someone that's someone in line with you and that can augment your team, your capabilities. And so the thing that I really want to talk about is, just to piggyback off of what Charlene was saying, is as you are trying to find that partner, you really have to understand from their sales process on that demo call where they're talking to you about that product line. It's great and it's good to understand, well, what is it that you're going to offer me? Where do I sit? So if they do a tiered structure, really trying to understand if I'm at tier 1 or if I'm at the gold tier, from a marketing standpoint, what are the policies and procedures that you have? What is it that you are prepared to offer me at this tier? And, what are you all going to do tactically to help me at this tier? And so Charlene's going to give some great feedback, some great questions, some things she's helped partners do to ask during those calls, so you can make sure that you're asking the right questions to have further understanding about what is it that this partner will provide me. And so you can further make sure that you have that alignment where, we match up on the marketing, on our marketing goals. I know in 2023, I'm just trying to give an example where you could say, I know for sure in 2023, I want to make sure that I'm doing a webinar a month. I need to make sure that at the tier that I'm at and with this partner's policies, they can support me doing this webinar, allow me to hit this webinar goal. You can also think about events. Like, I know I want to go and be at events where my customers are. I need to make sure that I understand what are the policies that this partner provides. What are they going to do to support me at events at this tier? Not when I get to, tier 3 or tier 4 or whatever. What is it that they can do for me right now that I can incorporate this into my marketing strategy for the next year? I need to be asking those things and then we're going to talk about how you can start trying to get some of those things in motion, now, so it could be a reality where you can say that I know for sure I'm going to be working with Hackware in January on this webinar. We've talked about it. They offer it at my stage. The process is in motion. And so that's really important, with regard to assessing and finding those vendors. Is you got to know what you're looking for before you get on that demo call, before you bring them into your stack. These are questions that you want to ask to see how they can help you.
Right.
Charlene, what's some other things that MSPs should be doing to get their vendor partners on the same page as them?
So I remember a client came to us and had been in business for over 54 years, family owned and operated. And I want to guarantee you guys, they had multiple people come into their company and say, I can build a partner program. And it never worked. It never succeeded, never did these things. So I'm going to share with you some of the things that you need to look for when you're building a partner program so that you can then become an offer to the partner, right? Remember, you can't give what you don't have. You don't want to give from an empty cup. You want to be able to give the overflow. So first things first is identify what your services are. A lot of MSPs don't do this. They just do it all. And I'm like, okay. But if you're not clear on what services you do and what you don't do, it's really hard to identify partners that are going to match up with you. Because some MSPs might say, you know what, we provide VDI, but we don't want a partner who has VDI services because it comes in competition. So you want to identify a partner who has other services that maybe your customers have been asking for, but you just don't provide it. One of the things that we established with this client when they came to us was, let's identify your timeline, right? Get clear. Do you want to onboard this today, tomorrow, the next day? Like, what can there possibly be? Because you have to set realistic expectations. You don't want to have 100 conversations about partners and then it falls flat because you didn't plan accordingly to onboard them, or maybe you didn't have your agreement in place. And so this is something very similar that many of our clients who came to us said, Char, why can you spin up a partner program? And we've tried to do this on our own, or we've had other people. I said, because I focus on the thing that's going to make a win for them. Your partner wants to come into the relationship almost selfishly for what's going to benefit them. So you have to get really clear on what's going to benefit your partner and you so that both of you can be a win-win-win equation. But guess what, guys? There's a fourth win, and that's the customer. At the end of the day, the customers must win from your partnership, or the partner program really isn't successful. It really just is another thing on your task to do. There is what I call the good, better, best model. And I know the slides are going to be shared. So request them from Britta. She'll take good care of you. She'll share the slides with you. But, you know, you want to start off with what you're capable of doing. If you're a solo MSP, you might be already overwhelmed by, 10 to 15 clients. And so you really don't have time to give to a partner program. So you're looking through this checklist and saying to yourself, what can we do? What services can we offer? And how can we complement other people? Just like Tiffany was saying, right on the money, events, webinars, email campaigns, social media, your website. Guys, you have to make sure all of your stuff is taken care of, because partners do not want to work with other people that they have to stand and wait for you to get it. They want to come to you and say, wow, your website is current. Your LinkedIn is active. You're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing when you're marketing. They want to see that you're a part of it. Now, I want to say this. A lot of partners will come at different stages of your business, just like Tiffany was sharing. So you might want to get a humongous MSSP as a partner, but guess what, guys? You don't have the bandwidth, or maybe you don't have the infrastructure. You don't have the staff. So start where you are. Start where you are, that you can at least start with, all right, I can guarantee every single month we're going to do a webinar with our partners. And then you can have the next 4 weeks planned out. So there's a topic relating to the product that maybe your partner is selling. Something that really happened in just kind of the onset of new partners is that I had my clients create what they call a marketing onboard. So when a partner onboards, they have a marketing checklist and they say, here's all the relationship expectations. What are some of the things that you do, and whatever you don't do, we won't focus on, but let's do the things that you do really, really well. So sometimes it's an email campaign. Sometimes it's a webinar. Sometimes it's an event. Hackware is excellent at their partner program because they come out to their partners. They fly in, they help support their partners. They help educate people about Hackware so their partners don't feel like they're doing it all on their own. One of the biggest things that alleviates, guys, when you can come to the table with all the things that you're willing to do, it helps everyone understand the relationship value. If you're like, hey, we're partners, but you never talk to them, you never email them, all you're calling in is, hey, I need a lead. Do you have a sale lead today? Guess what? That partner is not going to send you any business. And that's for the small groups and the big groups, because they're feeling like, oh, you're just a transaction. The name of the game for 2023, guys, is relationships. If there's any word that you're going to pick with your partner program, start deciding now, how do you manage relationships? We had a partner out of North Carolina this past week in Las Vegas, and he said, Char, I've never done any of these partner things before. I just assumed that they knew. I said, no one wants to assume anything. They want to just build a partner program that makes it a win-win. And he's like, okay, Let's build one. So he understood what he wasn't doing and what he wasn't contributing to his partners. And so, Tiffany, I really love how you're like, hey, see if you're going to do it together. If not, then it's not valuable. Just like dating, just like marriage. Like if it's not valuable, it's not going to bring any wins together. And so I use the dating method when I try to teach about channel partner programs and marketing, because you're dealing with people. And if you are impossible to work with and it's super hard and this is not a priority, don't start a partner program, or don't work with partners that are going to feel the same way about building a partner program that's going to be a win. It's okay to say no. You just want to be really clear on what works, so everyone is taken care of as you build your partner program.
I love it. I love it. And I really like the part where you talked about it's a relationship. And that is super helpful. And really that's what is best practice. When a partner has a relationship with the vendor, so when an MSP has a relationship with the vendor, and the way that that happens for us is you're working with your partner success. So your partner success team, understands, you know, how you're utilizing the platform. You have communicated with them about your business. You have you know who that person is, and so it makes it really easy to even start the conversation, because that's where you would start it, is with your partner success team.
Exactly.
And so I want to talk to you about what we've seen that works best. But that was a great point, Charlene, about relationships. Relationships is key. There's a couple things that I want to talk about what we've seen work. And then I'm going to share the slides in a little bit. So Britta, get ready. But the first thing I want to share is the partners who, when we talk about that first don't, the partners who know exactly what they want. And those are the ones that make it easy, because I'll tell you how we're operating. We have a menu. So we have a menu of all the things that we can provide. We can provide our partners. And it's because we want you to be successful. And so the partner success team, they're going to tell you about, we have, you know, these capabilities. We can support you in the digital space. We can support you in the physical world with events. We have all of these different things that we can do for you. And we're basically just trying to see what sticks, because we don't know, but we want to make sure you know what we have. And so it's really helpful, and it makes the conversation frictionless when you on that first engagement. So typically what happens is, right after we've decided that you're going to join our partner program, we'll have a meeting where it's good for us to know what you do, because we've talked about what we do. And so we really want to dive in and understand, like, what are your product offerings? Who is your target market? What's your go-to-market strategy? How can we support that go-to-market strategy? That's super helpful. And then after that initial call of understanding what our partner offers, is having continuous meetings. Like that's what we want. Like, we want to be a part of your strategy sessions. And so setting up monthly meetings with your partner success team to talk about, this is what we're doing on the marketing side. This is our strategy. This is what we need from you. And then even if it's not what you need from us, I would like to brainstorm and think about what we could do together. Those are the best partnerships with us, because we're a part of your growth every step of the way. And we're building that relationship, which is super important to us. And then the other part is, we're having strategy sessions on, okay, now that we've worked on getting those potentials in at the top of the funnel, let's have sales strategy meetings to talk about how we can support your sales process and help you close these deals. And so those are the best practices, when we have that monthly cadence, or some cadence of us understanding what your needs are, setting up a plan, executing. we really feel like we're a part of that. We're a part of your team when you give us that ability to do that. The other thing is, and so I want to talk, before I talk about, some of the other best practices, Britta, I definitely want you to share your screen, because I want to give you a real world example from one of our partners on how they leverage the relationship with us. And so one of our partners, they meet with us on a monthly cadence. And so they understand, they know who's on their partner enablement team. They can send that team an email and execute. And so with this relationship, one of the MSPs that we work with reached out to our team and was like, we're going to be at a conference next month. So they knew that, they gave us enough time in advance. So they were like, next month, we're going to be at this event. I got this idea. I need your team to help me with. We want to create an experience that's going to be unique, that's going to bring customers to us, and we need your help. And so they had this idea that they wanted to showcase what phishing looks like at an event. They were going to this small conference. There was a champagne toast that was going to happen. They knew everyone at the event was going to need a napkin. And so what they said was, we're going to do this small thing of putting our logo on a napkin. It's going to have a QR code on it. And we want you as our partner to create a site where when they when they scan this code, we're going to create a site that's going to, show them what the poor practices of just scanning something without really going through the motion of vetting it out. And so we created this website. They asked us to create the website. They needed it done by a certain deadline. Our marketing team was excited to be a part of this journey. That's something small we can do that can make a big impact at a conference. And what the outcome was, it was really what happened here. It was about getting people to scan the code during this champagne toast. When they came to the site, it's about educating them, but also creating that awareness right at the event that they could have gotten fish. So they educated them, but then they brought traffic to their booth. So it's about not just trying to in the exhibit hall, get people to come to you, and you're just trying to it's a feeding frenzy at those trade shows, which we know. And so you're just trying to get people to come to your booth, and you're trying to give them stuff away, but you could also create an event to drive traffic to your booth. And that's what this organization did. That's what this MSP did. And so once the people scanned it, they were like, oh my gosh, I fell for this. It's funny. I won a prize. I got to go back to this partner booth. And so that the success of this small conference, Britta, go to the next slide, was we helped them bring 30 new customers, 30 new leads to their booth. And it just was from a napkin, a website, and education, and then bringing them to the booth with a gift. And we supported, we gave away, we shipped in goodies for this event. But this is a interesting and unique way. It doesn't have, you can think outside of the box with your partners, and it's still in line with what they offer, but it could pay off for you where your team isn't working so hard at events. You're trying to figure out interesting ways to drive traffic to you. And so that's just an example, a real world example of some things you can do with your partners, some ask that you could do with your partners that's an easy lift on their side, but you could see, a bigger ROI for you at an event in person. There's two more things I want to mention, and then I definitely want to turn it over to the expert. is you got to make sure what I talked about before is the best practice. You have the monthly meeting. You're talking about the marketing strategy. In that meeting, you're talking about the sales strategy. You're continuously trying to, in that meeting, talk about your value add as a partner and how, when we work together on this strategy, how it's a win-win. So you always want to make sure when you're putting out, this is what I need from a partner, that you're communicating, this is what we could potentially, this is what could happen in my business, which is success in the overall vendor success. And then the last and final thing is, we want to make sure that, we can help you. And so make it easy for us by giving us, when you make those requests, give us time to be able to fulfill those needs. And so those are some best practices. And again, it's about doing those things now. 2023 is coming up. Think about your strategy. Think about what you want to do next year, and get your partners involved in a planning meeting this month before the year is over, so we can work together on what we can make happen in 2023. Charlene, tell me a little bit more about how do you define a good partner?
Well, Britta, if you can share my slide, it'll roll into what we want to do. I'll tell you what's not a good partner. The person who doesn't have the time, right? And a lot of you MSPs, you're solos. So a lot of you start off with 1 to 2. And so I want to really make sure it's clear. A channel partner doesn't have to do everything all at the same time, because some of you are just starting. Just like, Tiffany was saying, this partner of hers was more progressive. They already knew what they were doing. They had some budget to put around it, right? We tell channel partners, hey, we can't be at that event because it's either our time, our staff, or our budget. And guess what happens? We can share the list. We can share opportunities. We can network and market. And guess what? I didn't have to fly all the way over to that state in the cold and be like, okay, now I'm here. So guys, remember, here's what not to do. You don't want to take, because you're taking more than giving. So that's the first rule. You understand already, hey, I don't have anything to offer. Here's where you can start, okay? If you're willing to share the partner information on your profile and your company profile, that's a huge, big win, because that's current, that's touch, that's visibility, that's engagement, okay? That's small. You could do that for 15 minutes right there. You could do that in 15 minutes. Second is share events and opportunities. So if Hackware is at the upcoming MSP conference in Florida, I can get their graphic and their booth number and share it on my LinkedIn. I can share it to my email database. I can say, hey, after that's wrapped up and done, Tiffany, hey, let's do this next follow-up event, right? I'm thinking about the next 2 to 3 steps after we share out events and opportunities. One of the things that's really fun, guys, is when you're a solo MSP, you're thinking, oh, sure, I got so much work to do. The thing is, when you have partners helping you, you don't have to do it all. That is the disconnect, I think, a lot of times. And isn't that true, Tiffany? They think they got to do it all. You don't.
Yep.
That is not the goal. Collaborate on opportunities that can be educational first and selling next. And here's the value. So we're doing this MSP Tactical Marketing 3-part series. Why? Because we want to educate MSPs on what they can do for their sales and marketing. Why is that such an important thing? We're doing what we're saying we're going to do in our partners. So you want to watch as you're collaborating with other partners, guys. You want to see that they're doing it. If you think, oh, that's a great partner for me, but you don't see them actively engaging on LinkedIn, you don't see them at events, you don't see them nurturing and working together, they're probably not a good partner. Okay. Education is first, because people want to know as much as possible. People are very knowledge driven. They want to know as much education information as possible. If I'm using Hackware in an upcoming Women in Channel event, I'm going to say Hackware. I have Women in Channel. I have a group of about 180 women who are local and 20, 30 minutes from me in proximity. Let's put together a Women in Cyber panel. Let's educate them about Hackware. Let's educate them about phishing, how they can do best practices. A lot of them are remote workers. Do you see how she and I are talking about education? Selling naturally happens. Selling is next after you educate. And so MSPs, you don't have to worry about being great salespeople. That's not the goal. You want to educate first. So look for opportunities where you can educate, because I see this a lot of times. MSPs, you are so stinking smart that you kind of like fire hose the person to death. So they're like, oh my gosh, now they can't make a decision. But if you educate with your partners and create that opportunity, then you can sell next. Collaboration is going to be the vehicle that a lot of your partners are going to ask for, because they independently have their own responsibilities, their own tasks to do. But when you're educating and you're able to calendar it out, like she was saying, Tiffany said, get a calendar out, let's plan it. That's how you're going to get more done. Nothing happens without a deadline. Nothing happens without some sort of commitment from both partners, right? And you could do this solo, MSPs. I know you can. So don't worry about trying to do it all on your own. Oh, you're mute, Tiff. Uh-oh.
Oh, look
Oh,
at that. I think that was super helpful and tactical. Like you brought up a good point of the event calendar, collaboration, looking at trying to see if we're going to be at the same spot, same place.
right.
And we've done some fun things with our partner to try to make sure if we're at the same place, like how do we try to make it an engaging experience for the attendees where they could come to all of our booths. And so that's really exciting that you mentioned, really trying to understand where your vendor partners are going to be and letting them know that you're going to be there. And then that could create an opportunity, for you all to do something really exciting to bring more traffic, to bring more awareness to your MSP.
Right, exactly. And don't overwhelm yourself, right? Like Tiffany, they get so overwhelmed because they're trying to do that. Don't. Pick a couple of things that you really want to talk about and do, and then work on those and get some wins under your belt. Get your partners to be happy, make your contribution just as much as their contribution. And I promise you will grow quickly and faster than you ever have.
Absolutely. So I want to wrap up, and I got a final thought. And really, I just want to sort of summarize and give our partners a call to action when you're working with a vendor. And so like we talked about today, but I hope when you leave here, you understand, one of the first things you could do is first, when you're meeting with the vendor, yes, you're learning about their product offerings, but it's really important to understand what do they offer you to help your business, to help you do business, and do it effectively. So how are you going to help me with my marketing strategy? How are you going to help me with my sales capabilities? Do you have things that I can take away and do today? Because like Charlene said, we know that you're super busy. And the key to picking a partner and maximizing that vendor relationships is picking ones that really make it easy for you to do business versus them giving you more actions and more work to do, which shouldn't be the case of why you're choosing a vendor. It's about them making your business operations and your customers' life easier. So you want to make sure that those are some of the things that you're asking when you're trying to vet out a vendor. And then you want to make sure that you spend time with that partner success individual from the company to make sure that they know what you do. And this is key because that helps with, them trying to figure out how they can help you perform your business operations better. It's important if that vendor offers lead generation and lead referrals, they got to know what you do so they can send the right lead over to you and you can really maximize that relationship. And then the second thing you want to do is once that vendor partner knows what you do so they can support you, it's also important for you to share what your goals are for your business and for your marketing strategy. And then the last thing, which is super helpful from vendors like us at Hackware, is have an ask. Ask us what you want. Know what the vendor offers for your tier or based on their policies, and then make the ask. because that makes it easy. That makes it easy for us vendors to support your business.
Right.
Charlene, what
Yes.
final thoughts or things that you want to share with our partners?
So here's a rule of thumb, and this is one of the secret sauces, is that if your partner has a product or service that you would not buy, then they're probably not a good partner for you. Our rule in our partner program is that we are a customer of all of our partners. And if we're not, then we have no business being a partner of theirs, because we don't have the integrity in that relationship to say, hey, we use this product. We are using it for our compliance. We're using it for our training and education. We use Hackware in our ecosystem and for our clients. Why? Because we believe in the product. We know that Tiffany and her team are spot on, that this is something that's happening in the space right now. And so if they're not going to be a customer and you're not going to be a customer of their product, then it kind of tells you the relationship. It kind of tells you it's hard to sell something you don't really believe in. It's really hard to do that. And you can't fake that, guys. So, as a bonus, that's been one of the secret sauces that we build into channel partner programs is if you're not a customer of the product, it really makes it hard to be a partner. And it's okay to just say it's not going to work. But we don't want you to ignore that part of the strategy, because it's going to be really hard to talk to your customers. You don't want to convince your customers to buy the product. You want to be able to say, we know why it's valuable. We know what it's going to do and contribute to your environment, especially with cybersecurity, right? So we are so thrilled to be here, Tiffany, and provide that. And guys, these are just best practices that we've done and worked with multiple MSPs, small, medium, large startups. Cybersecurity space is going to be overwhelmed now because MSPs are transitioning into becoming a more cybersecurity firm. And so we're there every single day. So Britta had that slide up and we have a giveaway and we're so excited. Every one of you that's been on this webinar, we want to gift you a cybersecurity shirt that is designed specifically to cybersecurity memes. And we want to gift that to you. So reach out to us, go ahead and sign in and we'll ship that out to you. And then tell us your size and the shirt will be made. There's 5 designs you can pick from.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys. This was awesome. I also wanted to mention the cybersecurity assessment from Hackware. We'll drop the link for that in the chat so you guys can access that right away. And then we'll also send out an email with the recording and more info about how you can get that free t-shirt because they are super fun. I have one. I wear it all the time.
Britta's awesome. Thank you, Britta, for making this happen. And Tiffany, thank you for allowing us to be here with you.
Thank you so much, Charlene, for bringing your expertise, because this is a really tough topic for many business owners and then also for us tech professionals to really try to understand what's the most effective way to market? Like, how do I make step 1? And then once I make step 1, how do I execute step 2 and 3? And so you've made it super easy for any stage MSP to really improve their marketing strategy, which is going to be key in 2023. I was listening to an analyst this morning because I'm a nerd and I'm always trying to, look at the markets and look at, what's happening in the world. And so an analyst this morning was saying the way that companies are going to win is by positioning, really trying to understand what is it they do, how they differ from their competitors in that space, how they communicate their value proposition to the customer is key. And so you're helping these partners figure out how to best position themselves and leverage partnerships to help them win in 2023 and beyond. So thank you so much, Charlene.
Oh, you're so kind. You're welcome. Thank you for believing in MSPs. They're the front, of the opportunity right there every day. So thank you, Tiffany. Appreciate that. Thank you. We love Hackware. We love everything about Hackware. We use it in our environments. We use it for our clients. It's a standard best practice for cybersecurity. And that tells you a lot about how we value our partnership. So thank you.